You remember Shonen Jump Stadium, right? No, you probably don't, because this was a Japanese-only mobile title, and curiously, one that only lasted for 1 year before vanishing and becoming forever unplayable. What happened with this game, and what caused Konami to essentially nuke this game out of existence? Like, even this game's Twitter account and all of its posts were pretty much wiped from the face of the earth. Well, coming into the decade of the 2010s, the iPhone had become a massive powerhouse in the realm of gaming, and this was in part due to the viability of in-app purchases as a way to continue to extract money out of players. And so we saw many franchises under the Jump line skip their portable outings in favor of creating mobile experiences. Games like One Piece Bounty Rush and Bleach Brave Souls. The year 2018 would be Shonen Jump's 50th anniversary, and in celebration, the magazine recruited the help of developer Konami to create a special celebration game, what would become Weekly Shonen Jump, Jikkyou Janjan Stadium, mainly just called Jump Stadium. The Jump line has a long history of Super Smash Bros. Like platform fighter games, from the crossover games such as Battle Stadium DO-Win and the Jump Superstar franchise, and then also to individual titles such as the One Piece Grand and Gigant Battle series. Only for this title, rather than home or handheld consoles, Jump was setting its sights on the realm of mobile phones, so iPhone and Android. The game's art style would be in the style of Konami's Power Pro series, giving characters a more chibi design, which I thought was really cool and could have lent itself pretty well to a line of collectible figures if they really wanted to capitalize on it. And the character roster itself was pretty strong too, consisting of 54 total characters, spanning from the 1970s all the way to the 2010s. We'd see some retro icons like Kinnikuman of the Ultimate Muscle series, giant mainstays like Goku, Naruto, and Luffy, and even representation from, at the time, newer franchises like My Hero Academia and Assassination Classroom. However, that's probably as far as my praise goes for this game. Progression here is tied to collecting character techniques through hero memories, which are represented by some iconic manga panels from represented series. And as you'd expect, this is tied to the gacha mechanics and constant heckling for in-app purchases, which in my opinion isn't immediately a gripe, but Konami is also historically known for some of the worst monetization strategies, which honestly I think people would have been willing to ignore if the gameplay was halfway decent. Games like Genshin Impact pride themselves on being fairly fun games with gacha mechanics tied in, but this gameplay is just kind of jank, and the problem is nobody wants to play a platform fighter on mobile. That's why there really aren't any Smash clones that are popular on iPhone now. The result of the lack of proper controls meant the game's fighting mechanics were simplified heavily and reduced the game down to a lot of mindless spamming, and the actual feel and crunch of punches just weren't there. Another big kicker is the stage design. The creative stage design we saw mimicking classic manga panels in the Jump Superstars franchise is now gone and basically replaced with probably the most generic stage design ever. So you have a stadium or you have a, sports arena. Now, keep in mind, with all this said, I don't know if these complaints were the leading factor in the app actually getting shut down. Maybe this could have been the plan from the beginning, maybe as a limited release for the 50th anniversary. Or it could have just been a lack of revenue or player growth, but either way, the biggest loss is the fact that the game is pretty much lost to time, as it relied pretty heavily on being connected to a server, which is why I always advocate for these types of games to have a version on major handheld platforms like the Nintendo 3DS. Commercial handheld games are just much better at being preserved than the Wild West that is smartphone gaming. Either way, you can still find a lot of gameplay on this game online, and hopefully this video tuned you into something new that you didn't know about. If you want to see me talk more about somewhat obscure titles like this in the future, please subscribe to this channel and share this video around if you can. Anyways, bye.